If your book is falling flat, readers aren't connecting with it, or it's just not moving along, I guarantee your problem is your internal plot, which is what we're going to talk about in this particular series. We're going to delve really deep into it because it is the most critical part of your book. And it is also the part that most writers struggle with. I get it, because that was what I struggled with too. When I went from writing nonfiction articles and books into writing fiction, it took a lot for me to learn how to write that way. Fiction is written from your gut. And a lot of times, if you're a new writer, you've got all these rules up here, like I've got to show, not tell. I've got to be in the right point of view. I've got to have an external plot. All of that up here keeps you from writing from here. But what's down here is what readers connect with. And when readers connect, they love your book. They recommend your book. They can't wait till you read your next one. If that's how you want your readers to react to your book, stick with me. I've got the secret to that. But first, don't forget to hit subscribe. Be sure to go back and watch the previous videos on character and plot because they give you the basics that you need in order to write a great book. This part, the internal plot that we're going to be talking about, is the
correct answer is
deep emotional part. And I have added the internal plot download, which you can also download for free. Link is down below. Let's talk about what the internal plot is. And if you look at the handout, in big letters it says the number one thing you must know. If you choose to turn the video off after this, totally fine, but just remember this. Emotion is what binds the reader. Emotion is what makes the reader relate because the reader sees a little bit of themselves in the character, and that is what makes for an unforgettable book. That internal plot is even more vital than the car chases and the bad guys and everything else that you have going on in your book, because if the reader doesn't bond, the reader puts the book down. So it doesn't matter if you wrote this really great gunfight at the corral if you don't have an emotional bond with your reader. Now, when we talk about internal plot, the character often has no idea that this is going on. Why? Most of us just don't go through our days just thinking about our emotions or the emotional things that we need to overcome. I mean, maybe if we go to therapy or we have a really deep conversation with a friend, but most of us don't sit around going, oh, I feel really guilty about that thing that happened when I was 7. It just doesn't happen for us or for your character. However, and here's where you, the author, get to be a little bit mean.
The 3 words that best describe you: stink, stank, stunk.
What happens in the plot triggers those emotional consequences, and those emotional consequences are what forces the character to grow and change. So the very first writing exercise that you have is to go back to the character master plan that you did, and I want you to take those deep emotional wounds that you gave to your character. If you haven't done it yet, go back and do that now, because these deep emotional wounds will be at the heart of everything I talk about in this series. I want you to figure out how those deep emotional wounds impacted your character. Remember, I say that all the time. Impact is the number one thing, because impact is what makes you have insecurities and anxieties and traumas and all of these other things. Those deep emotional wounds. What have they done to your character? Have they left her insecure or afraid to take risks? Have they left him afraid of abandonment? Have they left this character feeling guilty or needing revenge? What emotion, that's the key word, what emotion is the character experiencing because of these deep emotional wounds? I want you to think about what secrets are they having? What fears do they have? All of those things that are going on inside their hearts and guts. The things, again, that they're not thinking about, but you as the author need to know so that you can force them to confront these things. Even if it's something as simple as being afraid of heights because when they were a kid, they were taken to a roller coaster that got stuck at the top for several hours. That was like one of my biggest fears as a kid because I hate heights. If that's a byproduct of that deep emotional wound where they were left alone at the top of the roller coaster, then you need to know that as the author, because you know what you're going to do in the book? You're going to make them go up somewhere high. You're going to make them relive those fears, because that's what forces them to grow and change. I know, I say it a lot, but that's exactly what they need to do in order to deserve the happy ending that you are creating. And if you can learn to really look for and understand and see these deep emotional wounds, the impact on the character and the impact on the plot in the things you watch and the things you read, you will easily translate that to your own book. Don't forget to download the handout if you haven't already. If you're struggling with your book and don't know where you're going wrong, join our manuscript masterminds. They're monthly meetings where I give you feedback on your manuscript. We dive deep into really good writing topics, and you have a community of like-minded writers. You can find that link right there in the description or on my website. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe or come to our live streams on Fridays, and I will see you on the other side of the page.
Jump into fiction with Shirley.